Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry I have to do another video because of my storage issue. So we're getting started right away because I have some other things I'm gonna be doing afterwards. So yeah. And I'm gonna be posting probably some haul video on my other YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, thanks. Okay. Alright, yeah, let's get started. Just quickly some ASMR. That's my bad side. Now for my good side, and then we need to start. It's 10 o'clock, sorry. 10 o'clock a.m. Okay, that's enough of ASMR for now. Okay, let's get started. Okay. Okay, let's see, where do I live on? I'm on the bottom of page 71, so I'm gonna start there, because that's where I was. I hadn't seen Will since Molly got sick. Things were just too complicated at first. My parents spent a lot of time at the hospital, and I had to do most of the cooking. Then, when she was getting better, my father had to work doubly hard on the book because he hadn't been able to concentrate on it when she was so sick. I realized that I hadn't been concentrating on my schoolwork either for the same reason. So I had a lot of catching up to do. But finally things were calming down. It was school vacation, Molly was getting better, and even the mud outside had dried up a little. At night it would still freeze, and in fact I noticed as I walked past that there were tire tracks frozen into the driveway of the big house across the field. That was another reason I wanted to see Will. After that first awful night, when I had seen the light in the window, other things had been happening at the house. Nothing seemed as mysterious as the light in the middle of the night. Okay. Still, I was curious. There was a car at the house occasionally, and the driveway had been cleared of the last spring muddied bits of the snow. Sometimes when the day was very quiet, I could hear the sound of saws and hammers coming from the house. Once I had seen the figure of a snowman on the roof working. It certainly looked as if someone were getting ready to move in. I asked my father if the nephew had gotten permission to turn the house into an inn, but Dad said he hadn't heard anything about it. On the other hand, Dad pointed out he'd been so distracted and so busy that he probably wouldn't have noticed if spaceships had landed in the field. Will was under the hood of his truck again. I should have taken my camera with me. If there is one way in which I will always remember Will, it is under the hood of that old truck. Is that your battery again, Will? I called as if I approached him. He straightened up and grinned. Meg, I was hoping someone would drop in for tea. In fact, I have the kettle on. I'm so glad fate sent you instead of Clarice Calloway. She's been hinting for years that she'll come to call someday. And I live in perpetual fear of seeing her heading down the road with her Sunday hat and a fistful of overdue library slips to deliver. I giggled. Clarice Calloway is the village librarian. She's 82 years old, and I'm not giving away any secrets when I say that. because she tells everyone that herself as soon as they're introduced her. She was also the president of the Historical Preservation Society, and my father says that's a real exercise in irony because Clarice herself is the best preserved historical monument for miles around. Also, she has a crush, a crush on Will. He told me that whenever he goes to the library, she disappears into the ladies' room and then comes out again with bright pink rouge on her cheeks, so that she looks like a French doll his sister had when she was a child. He sighed and wiped his hands on a rag. It's the radiator this time. In the winter, it's the battery, and when spring comes, it's the radiator. The tires go flat in summer. Sometimes I think I'll buy a new truck, but then I figure I'd have to learn to deal with a whole new set of disasters. At least now I know that every April the radiator hoses will break and the engine will overheat. Better to know what your enemy is before you confront him, right, Mag? Right, I agreed, even though I wasn't at all sure I wanted to be confronted by enemies or disasters, whether I knew them or not. Come inside, Will said. I have a surprise for you. But my surprise was first. After Will had poured tea for both of us, I opened the big envelope and took out the pictures. I laid the 6 of them on the kitchen table and watched as Will picked them up one at a time. He didn't laugh or blush or say, "Oh, I look terrible," the way kids do when they see pictures of themselves. I know he wouldn't. He picked up each one and studied it, smiling at home, looking thoughtfully at others. Finally, he chose the same one that was my favorite. The one where his eyes were closed and the smoke from his pipe was a thin line along the side and the top of the photograph. He took it to the window and looked at it in better light. Meg, he said at last, all of these are very, very good. You know that already, I'm sure. This is the best one, I think, because of the composition and also because you hit on just the right combination of shutter speed and aperture setting. You see how the lines in the face are perfectly sharp. You must have a pretty good lens on that little camera of yours, but you slowed it just enough so that the line of smoke was a slight blur to it, as it should. Smoke is an ephemeral quality, and you caught that, but you didn't sacrifice the quality of the face. It's a fine photograph. Why did I want to cry when he finished talking? I don't even know what ephemeral means, but something inside me welled up like hot fudge sauce, sweet and warm and so rich that you can't bear to have very much. It was because someone who was a real friend, was having the same exact feelings, the exact same feelings I was having, about something that was more important to me than anything else. I bet there are people who go through a whole life and never experience that. I sat there with my hand around the warm mug of tea, and I smiled at Will. Meg, he said suddenly, gulping his own tea, I'll make a deal with you. Aloud. People say that to me at school, and it means that they want to copy my algebra homework. And and in return, I get the hostess Twinkie from their lunch. Remember I told you that I had bought a camera in Germany? I nodded. It's a fine camera, Will said. The best made, and of course something like that doesn't diminish with age. I don't know why I haven't used it in so long, except that I lost my enthusiasm for a lot of things when Margaret died. And that, he said gruffly, is that the last thing she would have remembered. Wanted. That's what I meant. But I'm going to get it out of the attic. The camera and 4 lenses and a set of filters that go with it. I want you to use it. The hot fudge started up again. My own camera has just one lens, which can't be removed. I've read about using other kinds of lenses and filters, but I've never had a chance to try. I don't know what to say, I told him, and it was true. What could I possibly do in return? And don't worry about that, laughed Will. I said I'd make a deal with you. I'm not going to let you off easily either. In return, I want you to teach me to use the darkroom. Let me borrow your little camera while you're using mine, and we'll set up a regular schedule for lessons. I'll warn you that it's been a long time since I've undertaken to learn anything new, but my eyesight is good, and my hands are steady still. But Will, I wailed, I'm only 13 years old. I've never taught anybody anything. Will looked at me very sternly. My dear Mac, he said, Mozart wrote his first composition when he was 5. Age is a meaningless commodity in most instances. Okay, I finished for now. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next video. Bye.